You think you are handling life well because you never break down. But psychology reveals that constant calmness is actually the most dangerous form of emotional suppression. You smile through exhausting days, only to shut down the second your bedroom door closes, scrolling endlessly, just to escape the heavy silence in your chest. If you keep swallowing your pain to keep others comfortable, this hidden pressure will eventually shatter you. I will show you how to safely break free. What city or state in the US are you in tonight? And are you giving yourself a warm hug amidst all that lonely hustle? There are moments when you tell yourself that you are fine, not because you truly feel fine, but because you have become very skilled at continuing. You get out of bed, you answer messages, you do what needs to be done, you smile when someone asks how you are. From the outside, nothing appears to be falling apart. But inside, something is being held down with both hands. Holding back your emotions does not always look like silence. Sometimes it looks like productivity. Sometimes it looks like being the calmest person in the room. Sometimes it looks like being the one everyone depends on because you never seem to need anything yourself. But emotions do not disappear just because you refuse to name them. They gather behind polite answers, a clenched jaw, and the words, "It's not a big deal." Eventually, what you refuse to feel finds another way out. The first sign you may be holding back your emotions is that you explode over something small. Maybe you are usually patient. You rarely raise your voice. Then one day, a cup slips from your hand and breaks. Someone leaves a light on. A family member asks one ordinary question at the wrong moment. And suddenly, something inside you erupts. Your voice becomes sharper than you intended. Anger rushes through your body with a force that seems completely out of proportion to what happened. You may slam a door, say something cruel, or start crying without understanding why. A few minutes later, shame arrives. You look at the broken cup or the confused face in front of you and think, "What is wrong with me?" But the cup was never the whole story. It may have been the final ounce of pressure in a system carrying too much for too long. It may have landed on top of months of disappointment, years of feeling overlooked, or a lifetime of swallowing your needs because expressing them once created conflict. This is what emotional suppression often becomes: a pressure cooker. Every time you say, "I'm fine," when you are hurt, the pressure rises. Every time you stay quiet to keep everyone else comfortable, the pressure rises. Because the original pain has nowhere to go, it begins searching for an exit. The anger that appears over a small mistake is often not small anger. It may be grief that never had permission to cry. It may be fear pretending to be strong. It may be resentment built from being available to everyone while feeling emotionally abandoned yourself. This does not excuse hurting other people, but it explains why self-hatred rarely solves the problem. You do not need to shame yourself for having emotions. You need to become curious about what the outburst was trying to reveal. Instead of asking, "Why am I so dramatic?" ask, "What have I been carrying that I have not allowed myself to feel?" That question may open a door you have spent years keeping closed, but it can also be the beginning of honesty. The second sign you may be holding back your emotions is that you immediately reach for distraction whenever discomfort appears. The sadness may begin as a small heaviness in your chest. It may be loneliness after a conversation. It may be a quiet thought about your life that you do not want to finish. Before the feeling can fully form, your hand reaches for your phone. You scroll through short videos. You check messages that are not urgent. You watch one episode, then another. You open the refrigerator even though you are not hungry. You sleep, shop, drink, play games, or stay constantly busy, so there is never enough silence for your inner world to speak. This is not always laziness or a lack of discipline. Often, it is avoidance. Distraction becomes emotional anesthesia. It gives you a brief escape from the discomfort of being alone with yourself. The stimulation offers relief, but the feeling underneath does not leave. It waits until the screen goes dark. That is why you may feel strangely empty after hours of scrolling. You were not truly resting. You were running. The more often you run from your emotions, the more dangerous they begin to feel. A wave of sadness can start to seem unbearable. You may believe that if you stop moving, everything will collapse at once. So you keep your mind occupied, even when your body is exhausted. But emotions are not endless oceans that will swallow you the moment you step into them. Most emotions move like waves. They rise, they peak, and they soften when they are allowed to exist without judgment. Perhaps no one taught you how to sit with sadness. Perhaps your family praised strength but mocked vulnerability. Perhaps you were told to stop crying, calm down, be grateful, or get over it. So whenever pain appears, you treat it like an intruder instead of a messenger. You push it away before it can tell you what it came to say. You are not weak for doing this. You adapted in the only way you knew. But survival habits can become prisons when they continue long after the danger has passed. The first step is not to force yourself to feel everything at once. It is simply to create a few honest seconds between the emotion and the escape. The next time you reach for your phone because something feels uncomfortable, pause and ask, what am I trying not to feel right now? You may not have an answer immediately. That is okay. The pause itself is progress. It is the beginning of turning toward yourself instead of abandoning yourself. Because when emotions remain buried long enough, the mask begins to attach itself to the face. And soon, you may become so skilled at appearing okay that even the people closest to you have no idea how tired you truly are. The third sign you may be holding back your emotions is that you become a completely different person when other people are around. In public, you may be the funny one, the reliable one, the person who keeps conversations moving and makes everyone else feel comfortable. You know when to smile, when to make a joke, and when to say exactly what people want to hear. Your friends may describe you as calm, confident, or easygoing. They may even tell you that they wish they could handle life as well as you do, but they do not see what happens when the door closes. The moment you are alone, your energy disappears. The smile falls from your face. Your body feels heavy, as if you have been performing under bright lights for hours. Thoughts you successfully outran during the day return all at once. Anxiety fills the silence. Sadness settles over the room. You may sit on the edge of your bed and wonder how the person everyone admires can feel so empty. This emotional divide can become so familiar that you stop recognizing it as a divide. You simply assume that everyone has a public self and a private self. To some degree, that is true. We all adjust our behavior depending on where we are and who is present. But there is a difference between having social boundaries and building an entirely separate identity to hide your pain. When the distance between your inner experience and your social personality becomes too wide, you begin to lose contact with the person underneath the performance. You may know how to make everyone laugh, but not how to tell someone you are lonely. You may know how to comfort other people, but feel deeply uncomfortable when they try to comfort you. The painful irony is that the better your performance becomes, the less likely anyone is to notice that you need help. People assume you are doing well because you have taught them to believe it. Then, when no one checks on you, part of you feels abandoned. You think, how can they not see that I am struggling? But another part of you is terrified that they might see. That conflict creates a special kind of loneliness. You are surrounded by people who know your stories, your humor, your habits, and your opinions. Yet you still feel as if no one truly knows you. The sad comedian is not always the loudest person in the room. Sometimes it is the quiet, dependable person who has mastered the art of appearing emotionally undisturbed. The performance is not an attempt to deceive others. It is often an attempt to remain lovable. At some point, you may have learned that people stayed close when you were useful, pleasant, or entertaining. Perhaps vulnerability made others uncomfortable. Perhaps your sadness was dismissed, criticized, or used against you. So you created a version of yourself that would never become a burden. That version protected you, but it also imprisoned you. Healing does not require revealing everything to everyone. It means allowing at least one safe person to meet you without the costume. It means risking the sentence, I know I seem okay, but I have not been okay lately. The fourth sign you may be holding back your emotions is that other people's emotional honesty makes you uncomfortable. You may feel tense when someone cries openly. You may become impatient when a friend expresses intense anger or fear. When someone speaks passionately about being hurt, your first reaction may be to judge them. You might think they are being dramatic, weak, unstable, or attention-seeking. You may want them to calm down immediately, not because they are dangerous, but because their emotion creates an unbearable feeling inside you. Sometimes, what irritates us most in other people is the freedom we have denied ourselves. The person crying in front of you is doing what you were taught never to do. They are letting pain become visible. They are asking the room to make space for their emotional reality. Their openness may activate an old alarm inside you. Your body remembers that emotions once led to punishment, embarrassment, rejection, or chaos. So even when the present situation is safe, your nervous system reacts as if something has gone wrong. This does not mean every emotional expression is healthy. People can use anger to intimidate, tears to manipulate, or vulnerability to avoid responsibility. But there is a difference between recognizing harmful behavior and feeling threatened by emotion itself. When you have spent years controlling every visible reaction, another person's honesty can feel almost offensive. They are breaking a rule that has governed your entire life. The rule may say, Do not let anyone see you lose control. It may say, your feelings are your problem, or perhaps, strong people do not need comfort. But these rules were often created in environments where emotional safety did not exist. They may have helped you survive a difficult childhood, an unpredictable relationship, or a workplace where vulnerability had consequences. They are not necessarily rules you must obey forever. Instead of immediately judging someone's emotional expression, notice what is happening inside your own body. Is your chest tightening? Do you feel an urge to leave? Are you trying to fix the person so you do not have to remain present with their discomfort? Your reaction may be showing you where your own emotions are still forbidden. The fifth sign you may be holding back your emotions is that you feel like a spectator in your own life. You can be sitting with people you care about while they laugh and talk around you, yet somehow you feel far away. You hear their voices, but they seem distant. You smile at the appropriate moments, but there is no real feeling behind the smile. It is as though you are watching the scene from outside your body. You may recognize that the moment should feel joyful. You may even become frustrated with yourself for not enjoying it. You think, I have people around me. Nothing terrible is happening. Why do I feel nothing? This emotional distance can be a form of dissociation. It is one of the mind's ways of protecting itself when feelings become too overwhelming, confusing, or unsafe. When you repeatedly shut the door on pain, however, the mind does not always know how to close that door selectively. You cannot easily numb only grief while keeping joy fully alive. You cannot silence fear without sometimes dulling excitement, intimacy, and love. The numbness that once protected you from suffering may gradually separate you from everything that makes life feel meaningful. You are present, but not fully here, alive, but unable to feel connected to your own existence. And because numbness is quieter than pain, you may mistake it for peace. But real peace feels open. Numbness feels empty. Real peace allows emotion to move through you. Numbness keeps every door locked. The way back does not begin by forcing yourself to feel happy. It begins by gently noticing what is already present, even if all you can identify is emptiness. Because emptiness is not the absence of an emotional story. Sometimes, it is the evidence of a story that has been silenced for too long. The sixth sign you may be holding back your emotions is that you choose a kind of peace that slowly destroys you. You avoid conflict at almost any cost. When someone hurts you, crosses a boundary, or repeatedly takes more than they give, you tell yourself it is easier to stay quiet. You do not want an argument. You do not want to seem difficult. You do not want to risk being misunderstood. So you smile. You say, it's okay. You change the subject. You swallow the anger. You continue as though nothing happened. From the outside, this may look like maturity. People may praise you for being patient and calm, but inside, resentment grows. Every unspoken truth becomes another small betrayal of yourself. This is not genuine peace. It is toxic peace. Real peace is not the absence of disagreement. It is the presence of honesty, safety, and mutual respect. Toxic peace asks you to sacrifice your emotional reality so everyone around you can remain comfortable. You may have learned this pattern early. Perhaps conflict in your home was frightening. Perhaps speaking up made things worse. Maybe you were ignored, punished, mocked, or told your needs were selfish. Over time, your nervous system learned that silence was safer than honesty. This can become learned helplessness. After enough experiences of feeling powerless, you stop believing that speaking up could change anything. You endure what hurts because part of you expects every attempt at self-protection to fail. But the anger does not disappear. It turns inward. It may become exhaustion, tension, sleepless nights, or a quiet hatred of the life you keep agreeing to. You may withdraw from people without explaining why. You may fantasize about disappearing, not because you want your life to end, but because you want the pressure to stop. Sometimes the most important emotional work is not learning how to calm down. It is learning that you are allowed to be upset. Your anger may be telling you that a boundary has been crossed. Your sadness may be telling you that something meaningful has been lost. Your fear may be warning you that you do not feel safe. Your loneliness may be asking you to stop settling for relationships in which you are valued only for what you provide. Emotions are not enemies sent to ruin your life. They are part of your body's first intelligence. Before your mind can produce a perfect explanation, your body often knows something is wrong. It tightens your chest around people you do not trust. It makes your stomach sink when you agree to something you do not want. It keeps you awake after conversations in which you abandoned your own truth. The goal is not to obey every emotion immediately. Anger does not mean you must attack. Fear does not always mean you must run. Sadness does not mean you are broken. The goal is to listen. Instead of asking, "How do I get rid of this feeling?" ask, "What information is this feeling carrying?" That question turns emotion from a problem into a message. Begin gently. You do not have to open every locked door at once. Start by naming what is present. Not simply, "I feel bad." Try, "I feel disappointed. I feel rejected. I feel overwhelmed. I feel angry because I said yes when I wanted to say no." The more precisely you name an emotion, the less mysterious it becomes. Naming does not make the feeling bigger, it gives it shape, and what has shape can be understood. Then notice where it lives in your body. Is there pressure behind your eyes? A knot in your throat? Heat in your face? Weight across your shoulders? Do not rush to fix it. Stay with it for a few breaths. Let your body learn that feeling something is not the same as being destroyed by it. When you are ready, begin releasing the pressure with people who have earned the right to hear your truth. You might say, "I have been pretending this did not hurt me, but it did." You might say, "I am more overwhelmed than I realized." Or simply, "I do not know how to explain it yet, but I do not want to carry it alone." Choose safe people. Emotional honesty does not mean exposing yourself to those who dismiss or punish you. It means allowing trusted people, and sometimes a qualified mental health professional, to stand beside you while you stop hiding from yourself. If these 6 signs feel familiar, there is nothing defective about you. You may have spent years surviving in places where your emotions were treated as inconvenient. But you do not have to remain loyal to the silence that once protected you. You can open the pressure valve slowly. One honest word. One boundary, one conversation, one moment in which you choose not to abandon yourself. Your feelings are not proof that you are weak. They are proof that some part of you is still alive, still paying attention, and still hoping for a life that feels more truthful than the one you have been performing. So today, pause before you say, "I'm fine." Ask yourself what is actually there. If you feel safe, share one emotion you have been holding back in the comments. One honest sentence is enough. And if this video helped you feel seen, subscribe and stay with this community. You were never meant to carry every feeling alone.